नमः सुंदरनाथाय तस्मै हालास्य वासिने चतुष्षष्टि विधालीला येनाकारि भुवस्थले श्रीमत् सुंदरनाथस्य देवीं शफरलोचनां कलये हृदये नित्यं कदम्ब वनवासिनी पूतं स्वतः पूततरं ततो यद् गाङ्गम्पयः शङ्करमौलिसङ्गात् तत्पातु मातः प्रणयापराधपादाहतैः पूततमं ततो नः. We're looking at the description of the Pandya Desha in the second Sarga. So this description will go on for a couple of shlokas, at least 25 shlokas, I guess, 24, 25 shlokas. We finished with the sixth one, which is Tapovane Anyatra Tapascharanto Divam Bhajante Yadi Yuktametat Tato Adhike Yatra Tapasyatam Hi Tatraiva Yuktaha Suchiram Nivasaha. When there are people there are a lot of sages who are doing tapas everywhere, generally in this, either in the Bharata Desham or in the whole world, there are many people who are doing tapas. But the speciality of doing tapas in Pandya Desha is that you don't need any other result. You don't go for any other result. When you are doing tapas, you have Swarga as your phalam. You want to attain Swarga where there is no dukkha. Dukkhena amishritam sukham is the definition for Swarga, where there is happiness which is not mixed with the dukkham. Because you are only getting rid of your punya, the accumulation of punyam that you have. In order to get rid of that, you will have to go to Swarga to enjoy that happiness, which is a result of that punya vishesham. But those who are doing tapas anywhere else in another tapovana would probably want to get Swargam, and that is proper to Yuktam Etate. Whereas for those who are doing penance in a place which is even better than Swarga, Tatopi Adhike Yatra Tapasyatam, Tatopi Ityukte Swargadapi Adhike Sthale, Arthat Pandya Deshe ye Tapak Kurvanti, Teshantu Atraiva Nivasaha. They only want, it is fit that they want to stay here for a long time, which is in the Pandya Desha. So he has established that Pandya Desha is much more than or much better than Swargam, and so people will want to stay there. Now then next he goes on to qualify it further by saying that the greatest of Muni, Agastya, was he decided to make this as his, make the south where Pandya Desha was, where the Pandyas were ruling, he decided to make the south as his Nivasa Sthalam, living place, right? But the way Nilakanta Dikshita cannot directly say that Yatra Agastyaha Avasate Sadeshaha Punyasthalam. That is not his way of expressing, right? So Nilakanta Dikshita always has a different way of saying things. Now he takes the birth of Agastya here. He indicates it in a very small manner. And he also says, so the birth of Agastya, let me go into the story of Agastya and then deal with the shloka. Because without that, the shloka is not going to make any sense. Agastya is called Kumbha Janma. He is supposed to have been born from a pot. So Mitra and Varuna, the two devas, they were once roving around in the Akasham, and they saw the Apsarastri Urvashi, and they were so enamored by her, they were attracted by her. Tada tesha tayoho virya skhalanam abhavat. As soon as they saw, their semen fell down, and that got mixed with the mud, and then they collected it and put it in a kumbha, in a pot. From that kumbha, you had two people, because Mitra and Varuna, both of them were there. Vasishtha and Agastya were born from that kumbha. Vasishtha is not called as Kumbha Janma, whereas Agastya is called as Kumbha Janma, because Vasishtha had another Janma. That is, he was initially cursed and then he was reborn. He was first cursed by Nimi initially, and then he was reborn in that Kumbha. So Vasishtha is not generally referred to as Kumbha Janma, but only Agastya is referred to as Kumbha Janma. Now this kumbha pot is made with mud, right? So in this Pandya Desham, where even mud can give birth to a great sage. So that is where Nilakanta Dikshita shows his greatness here. Now, the way he takes it and says, so mritpinda rupo janakaha yadiyaha pitamaho yasya kulalayeva sa kumbha janma ajani sutrakaraha kone vasan kwapi chiram yadiye. Wherever Agastya was born, it doesn't matter. So after he was born, he came and stayed in the Pandya Desha, in a corner of the Pandya Desha, because the Vindhyas is the starting of that southern portion, right? And he stayed there to ensure that the Vindhya mountains do not grow. So staying in one corner, he became a Sutrakara. Sutrakaraha here indicates that he has codified the Vyakaranam for Tamil. For Sanskritam, just as how we have Panini and there are 9 Vyakaranakara, there are 9 Sutrakaras there who have done 9 different Vyakaranams. And Panini is the only, Panini's grammar, Ashtadhyayi, is the only thing that is available today. Some portions of other grammars are also available, but mainly we rely on Panini's grammar, and Panini is the Sutrakara for Sanskritam. Here Sutrakara, Agastya is the Sutrakara for Tamil Vyakaranam. He wrote Agatyam, that was the first grammar book which is not available today, I think. And the only work that is available today is Tolgapiyam, which was written by Tolgapiyar. But Agastya was supposed to be the creator of the sutras or aphorisms for Tamil grammar. So Vyakarana Sutrakarta Abhavat Yaha Mritpinda Rupaha Asit. So Prathamam Kumbhat Jataha Saha. Yataha Prathamam Mridam Vikaraha Kumbha. So that becomes his father. Because the pot, he came from a pot, the pot becomes the father. Now who created this pot? It is a kulala. A potter created that pot. So that potter becomes the pitamaha. He becomes the grandfather. Now the grandson of a potter and the son of mud becomes a great Sutrakara by staying in just a small portion in a corner of this desha. Tadrishaha saha Pandya astihi. So to talk about the greatness of Pandya Desha, this is a beautiful way of saying Mridam Putraha, Kulalasya Pautraha Saha, Vyakarana Panditaha Bhute iti Mahatma Mahima eva kalu, Pandya Deshasya Mahima etat. So Yadiyaha atra yasya ayam athava yat sambandhi. Yadiyaha yasya Pandyadeshasya Pandyadeshe bhavaha mritpinda rupaha janakaha. So mritpinda rupaha, mridam pindam. Pindam it's like a clump of earth, clump of mud. So a lump of clay is the father. The one whose father is a lump of clay. Mritpinda rupaha janakaha. Yasya pita yasya pitamaha kulalaha eva. Yasya pitamaha, whose grandfather is a kulala. Kulala is a potter. So the one whose father is mud, a lump of clay, and the one whose grandfather is a potter, saha kumbha janma, that Agastya, kumbhe janma yasya saha. Saha Agastyaha yadiye kone, kwapi kone, in some corner of which this country, Prativasan, Vasan, living in the corner of this desham, Sutrakaraha Ajani. He became a Vyakarana Sutrakarta Babhuva Saha. Pandya Deshasya Kasminnapi Kone Nivasan. Saha Tamil Bhashayaha Vyakarakarta Abhut, Vyakarana Sutrakarta Abhut. Okay. So this, the story of Kumbha Janma is there in many, there are references to it in many Puranas, even in Ramayana and Mahabharata. But the proper full story is there in Shanti Parva and Mahabharatam. It is there in Matsya Puranam also. So Jalakumbhe tato viryam mitrena varunena cha prakshiptam atha sanjato dvau eva munisattamo. Mitrena varunena cha kumbhe swaviryam prakshiptam tadanantaram tasmat dvau munisattamo jato. There were two great sages who were born from there. One was Vashishta. The other was Agastya iti Shantatma Babhuva Rishi Saptamaha. There was another Rishi who was called Agastya and Shantatma, because the moment they said, he was staying in Kashi. Krishna. He was staying in Kashi initially. When the Devas came and asked him, see, this Vindhyas is growing a lot and you have to go and curb its garvam. So why don't you go? He decided from Kashi, it was his janma, he wanted to live there and perform austerities, tapas in Kashi. That was his long-term dream. It is there in a Purana. I'm not saying something out of my own imagination. It is there in Devi Bhagavatam. You can check it out. It seems he wanted to stay in Kashi for a long time. But then because of this request, he decided to move to the south. And only after moving to the south, he created this Agatyam, which is the Vyakaranam for Tamil. And he became famous also by then, I guess. So, Vritpinda Rupo Janakaha Yadiyaha Pitamaho Yasya Kulala Eva Sakumbha Janma Ajani Sutrakaraha Kone Vasan Kwapi Chiram Yadiye. Chiram Kwapi Kone Vasan. So, that Chiram would mean Chiram Vasan, staying for a long time in a corner. Okay. Now, next set of shlokas. Now, he moves on to a different topic. Here he says, he talks about the Anilam. It is Pandya Desha is situated in the foothills of Malaya mountain. We saw that in the shloka, we saw that about Malaya in the earlier shloka also, which is one of the 7 Kula Parvatas. And this Malayachala is in the southernmost part of the Sahyadri. And the wind that there are supposed to be a lot of sandalwood trees in Malaya, the Mount Malaya. So the wind that comes, the southern wind that comes from this mountain is supposed to have a very sweet sandalwood smell in it. Okay, and that wind is being enjoyed by the people in the city, in the country Pandya Desha. So he now describes he goes on to describe that Manda Anilam or Malaya Anila, its fragrance and how it is very soft to the body and all that. So he describes that in a few shlokas here. So Yasmin Deshe Yaha Malayanilaha Evam Vartate Tadrisha Deshaha Pandya Deshaha iti Prathama Shlokena Anvayaha Bhavati. So Saubhagya Lakshmim Navachandananam Mandalilanam api moktikanam ayata yamam abhinirvishanti prayena kaumara hara yadiyaha. Yadiyaha yasya pandya deshasya kaumara haraha navachandananam mandalilanam moktikanam ayata yamam saubhagya lakshmim api abhinirvishanti sa pandya deshaha asti. So yatra yasmin pandya deshe Yasya Pandya Deshasya Janaha, Yuvakaha, Tarunaha, Tarunyaha api. But you can take both categories here because Yadiyaha and Kaumaraharaha. 1 minute, I will. Sorry. Yadiyaha Kaumaraharaha Navachandananam Mandalilanam Mauktikanam Saubhagya Lakshmim Prayena Abhinirvishanti, they are enjoying. These young youth, where in which country? The youth, which is both the women and the men. Yadiyaha ityukte tatra pullinge api bhavati strilinge api vaktum shakyate. Tari tarunaha tarunyascha Tatra Kaumara Haraha. How do you know that they are talking about the youths? The word he uses for youth is Kaumara Haraha. Those who are stealers of childhood. Kaumaram ityukte kumarasya bhavaha. Kaumaram, Athava Kumara Avastha, Kumara Avastham ye haranti, Tarhi Tarunaha. The women remove that childhood in men because they attract them, and immediately the men are aware of their youth. And if it is the men, they remove that childhood or that innocence in women, and women are also immediately aware and they become youth. So Kaumara Haraha can go for both the women and the men of the Desha. So Yadiyaha Yasya Pandya Deshasya Kaumara Haraha Tarunaha Tarunyaha cha. What do? They enjoy the beauty that is there. Saubhagya Lakshmi Mapi Prayena Adhikam Abhinirvishanti Aswadayanti. Abhinivishati means they enter. Abhinirvishanti means they enjoy. Aswadayanti. So the youth enjoy this beauty of Navachandana, Mandanila. Navachandanam is Nutanataya Pishtam Chandanam. Sarvada Tatra Chandana Tarunam Vidyamanatvat. Te tu Tatra Navam Pishtam Karvanti. They don't have to wait for old sandalwood powder that is there in our house for 2-3 years and then we use it as a paste. No, they can immediately do that fresh chandana paste every day. So they can enjoy that Nava Chandanam. Nava Chandananam Saubhagya Lakshmi Shobhanatvam Saundaryam Atava Tatra Samriddhim. There is an abundance of new Chandanam that is ever available for those young, for the youth to enjoy, for young men and women to enjoy. Because it is only when they are in that Yavana Avastha, they are able to enjoy all these things. Otherwise, they're not aware of all these things, right? Kumara Avastham Atikramya Yada Yavanam Prapnuvanti Tada eva Prakriti Saundaryam Nutanataya Drishtva. Tatra they look at the nature's beauty and they start enjoying the things that are there around them. Right? So that is why he talks only about the youth in this shloka, because they enjoy the Prakriti Saundaryam that is there around them. So Navachandananam, they enjoy the freshly done sandalwood pastes. Manda Anilanam cha, the beauty of the slow breeze, and then Moktikanam, the beauty of fresh pearls that come. That is an indication that you remember the first shloka where it said Pare Samudra. It extends up to the Samudra. So fresh pearls come there every day. In Kadambari, if you look at the description of Ujjaini, there is one big Samastapadam where he talks of the different types of shells and things that come from the Samudram, and it is there on the streets of Ujjaini where it resembles Samudra itself, as if the Samudra has come here onto the streets of Ujjaini. So Ratha Atrapi, we have to imagine, why does he suddenly bring in Moktikam in this place? Chandanam, understandable, because there is Malaya mountain there. Manda Anilam, there is soft breeze, because people who are in their youth, they enjoy that lovely breeze there. Moktikam, what is the relevance for Mut, right? That you have to think of the abundance that is there in the Pandya Desha. Right? And Moktikam is, pearls are what you young women like to wear. In a lot of kavyas, you will find this description of muktahara that Nayika wears. Right? They don't talk of Hatakamaya or Kanakamaya Abharanani iti na vadanti. Prayaha, there are a lot more descriptions of muktaharam that women wear than any gold ornaments. So Moktikanam cha Saubhagya Lakshmi Mapi Prayena Abhinirvishanti. They enjoy that beauty. How is this beauty in Pandya Desham? The beauty of these things. That is the beauty of Chandanam, the beauty of the breeze, and the beauty of pearls. That is Ayata Yamam Saubhagya Lakshmi. Saubhagya Saundaryantu Tatra Yata Yamaha Nasti Sarvada Tatra Ajirnam Athava Navam Yat Bhati Tadrisha Saundaryameva Vartate Chandananam Anilanam Moktikanancha. It's not one day that you have, yesterday you have a chandanam, today you say, okay, I'm getting bored. Tatha nasti. Upabhoga kalaha samaptaha iti. You don't get old items in Pandya You always get fresh items. So yata yama, yamaha is kalaha. Yataha kalaha. Kalaha here would mean upabhoga kalaha, the enjoyment phase of that object is yamaha. And that is gone. Ityukte yata yamaha, something that has lost its freshness and that is gone, that is expired. Let's say expiry date. We have expiry dates for objects, right? So there are, for the objects that are there in Pandya there is no expiry date. Ayata yama. Ayata yamam saubhagya lakshmi mapi prayena abhinirvishanti bahulyena. Usually they enjoy the beauty, the unfading beauty of these things in Pandya Saubhagya Lakshmim Navachandananam Mandanilanam Api Moktikanam Ayata Yamam Abhinirvishanti Prayena Kaumaraharaha Yadiyaha Yatrobhayan Uchchataran Rasalan Alakshya Vindhya Smaya Bhanga Dakshan Tapasyati Nyastabhara Sukhena Teshveva Maitra Varunihi Maharshihi. He brings in both the Saundaryam, Prakriti Saundaryam of Pandya and the earlier Shloka where he talked about Agastya. Now he combines both of them in this Shloka. So Yatra Yasmin Pandya Deshe Maitra Varunihi Maharshihi Sukhena Tapasyati. He is able to happily do his tapas. See, that is what he wanted to do in Kashi. And he was disturbed. He was brought to the south from Kashi. He couldn't do because he had a task on hand here. He was given another task. He couldn't perform his personal duties, whatever he wanted to do. Now he could happily do it, it seems. Kadatra Shanka. So Prathamam, first the problem that he faced was Vindhyas had a garva and they wanted to grow taller. Now when they see something taller than them, then they will probably understand. Vindhyas would probably, Vindhyachala would probably understand that it cannot grow even further. So there are trees in Pandya Desha which are really tall. It is in today's this thing, maybe you can't understand that because usually the taller trees are those which are up in the northern hemisphere. We will assume that there are really tall trees, and Western Ghats do have some really tall trees. So Uchchataran, Rasalan, Alakshya. So there were a lot of tall trees in the Pandya Desha. Seeing those trees, Maitra Varunihi Maharshihi, Teshu eva Nyastabharaha. He placed his responsibility of, or his burden, Bharaha, Nyastaha, he had placed it, Teshveva, in those trees for breaking the pride of Vindhya, because those trees were capable of breaking the pride of Vindhya. Vindhya Smaya Bhanga Dakshan Uchchataran Ubhayan Rasalan Alakshya Drishtva. What type of trees does he see? He sees Rasalan. Not Rasala is a name that we usually associate with Chuta Vriksham, that is Amra Vriksham, mango trees. Okay, but there are Ubhayana Rasalana. If you take Amarakosha, Rasala also means Ikshu, sugarcane. So the sugarcanes are also tall in Pandya Desha. The mango trees are also really tall. So Ubhayana, two types of Uchchataran, really tall Rasala trees, that is mango and sugarcane, both type of Rasala trees, which are capable of Daksha, which are experts, Dakshaha Kushalaha, in breaking Bhanga, Smaya Vindhyasya, Vindhyachalasya, Smayam, Garvam, Bhangtum Shaknuvanti. They are able to break that pride that Vindhya mountain has, that it is the tallest in the world. Okay, and it thought that it could grow taller than Himalayas. That is why this whole process of Agastya moving to the south happened. It had that confidence that it could grow taller than Himalayas. Whereas, when seeing these trees, it did not have that confidence, it seems. So it lost its confidence when it saw the two types of trees, even sugarcane growing taller than itself. So, Uchchataran, Ubhayan, Rasalan, Alakshya, Drishtva, Kaha Pashyati Atra, Agastyaha eva Pashyati, Maitravarunihi Maharshihi, Mitravarunayoho, Apatyam, iti Maitravarunihi. One who is the son of both Mitra and Varuna. Saha Maharshihi, Sukhena Tapasyati, Katham, Teshveva Nyastabharaha. Teshu eva, rasaleshu eva, nyastaha arpitaha swasya bharaha. So his responsibility has been placed in those rasala trees. What is that responsibility? The burden of keeping Vindhyas in check. This happens only in the Pandya Desha. So yatra ubhayanu uchchataran rasalan alakshya vindhya smaya bhanga dakshan Tapasyati nyastabhara sukhena teshveva maitravarunihi maharshihi. Here the alankara is hetutpreksha, because by naturally Agastya has he happily can do tapas in the south, and the reason for that is he is a muni. So the reason actual muni, the reason should be he is a yogi who does not care about the surrounding at all. Wherever it is, he would be able to do a tapas without thinking about any other things outside. But then, atra tu hetuhu kalpitaha vidyate. Kaha saha hetuhu? Vindhya smaya bhanga daksheshu, rasaleshu, he places his burden, and he does not have to think about anything else, so he can happily do tapas. So the karanam here, nyasta bharatvam, he has placed his burden on them. That is not something that is true. So it is a sambhavana, it is a poetic fancy here. So the hetoho kalpitatvat tatra hetutpreksha. Yeah. So yatrobhayan uchchataran rasalan alakshya vindhyasmaya bhanga dakshan tapasyati nyastabharaha sukhena teshveva maitravarunihi maharshihi. Upatyaka mandala nirvisheshe deshe hi yasmin malayachalasya udeti mandam vyajana nilopi chamatkritaha chandana saurabhena. This Pandya Desha, yasmin deshe, deshastu atra kutra vidyate ityukte malayachalasya upatyaka mandala nirvisheshe deshe. This country is nothing but, it is the same as the foothill regions of the Malaya mountain. There is no difference between the foothills and Pandya Desham. The foothills is not a separate country and Pandya Desham is not a separate country. It is one and the same here. So which means the Pandya Desha extended from the Malaya mountain to the Samudra. Right? So, Upatyaka mandala nirvisheshe malayachale deshe. How is the wind there? The wind that comes is even the vyajana anilaha api chandana saurabhena chamatkritaha mandam udeti. If someone uses a fan, a hand fan, and tries to, bring out a little bit of air, that wind also has a chandana saurabham. It also has the sweet, surprising smell of sandalwood. Chamatkritaha. Chamatkritaha, you can say, chamatkaraha ityukte lokottaratvam. In Rasagangadhara, Jagannatha Pandita would say that chamatkara is something beyond the world. So if it is something that is present in the world, then it is ordinary. It is not surprising. So we usually use the word chamatkara to say amazing, surprising, right? Adbhutam. Adbhutam ityukte kim. What is the actual meaning of adbhutam? Actual meaning of surprising, amazing. That is something out of the ordinary. It is not what you see in the world. Lokottaram. something that is beyond the world, something that is you can't imagine. So you can't imagine sandalwood smell from a normal fan. We have these hand fans, right? You don't expect a sandalwood smell from it. But here in Pandya Desha, because this Pandya Desha exists in the foothills of Malaya mountain, and the Malaya chale Chandana Taravaha Bahavaha Santi iti Karanat, Tatra Samipasthayam Bhumyamapi, Evam the Chandana Sugandha Yuktaha Pavanaha Eva Vati. Right? We'll go word by word. Malayachalasya Upatyaka Mandala Nirvisheshe Deshe. Deshe in the country. Yasmin Deshe. In which country? Saha Pandya Deshaha iti tatra anvayaha. Yasmin Deshe evam vidyate evam anilaha vati athava udeti sa deshaha Pandya Deshaha. So in which country, which is the same, Nirvishesha, Vishesha is Bheda, Nirvishesha, Nirgataha, Visheshaha, Bhedaha, Yasmat. Yatra Bheda eva nasti, Tatra Samanaha, Tulyam. It is this one and the same. So the country which is the same as Upatyaka Mandalam. Mandalam is the region, Paridhi, or the border. Which is Upatyaka is also a very a term that is used only for the region that is near a mountain. Adrehe samipastha bhumihi eva Upatyaka iti vadamaha. Tari Upatyaka mandala nirvisheshe ityukte adrehe malayadrehe samipastha bhumihi tatra bhumi tulyam eva ayam deshaha. So this country, which is the same as the foothills of Malaya mountain, in this country, even the wind, vyajana anilaha api, even the wind that comes from the hand fans, mandamudeti, it comes very slowly. It right, it flows very slowly. Katham chandana saurabhena chamatkritaha sanna. It is being made something beyond the world or something surprising because of the sandalwood smell. And that sandalwood trees are present in abundance in Malayachala. And that's why even the hand fans carry that Chandana Saurabham. And that land is Pandya Deshaha. Upatyaka Mandala Nirvisheshe Deshehi Yasmin Malayachalasya Udeti Mandam Vyajananilopi Chamatkritaha Chandana Saurabhena. He continues with that Malaya Marutam. Pade Pade Chandana Kananasthaihi Thanadharair Yatra Nipiyamanaha Jataha Prabhutopi Bahihi Prasarpanna Mandah Kilaivam Malayanilo Bhut. I am not mentioning the Shabdalankaras here. There is Anuprasa in this, in many shlokas. The way the shloka, like Vyajananilopi, in the earlier shloka, you will find Nirvisheshe Deshe Yasmin Malaya Achalasya. So the Malaya Achalasya, in fact, that is also an Anuprasa there. So there are a lot of Shabdalankaras, which is very repetitive. Pade Pade, in this shloka, the idea is there are a lot of sandalwood trees. We have established that, right? There are a lot of sandalwood trees in the Malaya mountain. So Malaya Chale, Vidyante. Sandalwood attracts snakes. Okay. The idea there also is during summer season, usually the snakes are all they go in search of a cool place to go down and cool their body. Now the sandalwood trees, if it is a forest, sandalwood forest, then naturally the whole place is very cooling. Chandanam has a very cooling effect. So imagine a forest full of chandana trees, then how cooling it must be. So it is natural for snakes to go there and stay. This is all in Kavi Samayam. Whether you can support it with science or not, I have no idea. But yes, in Kavi Samayam, it is always spoken of as snakes want more cool. They are always in search of cool places. And hence forests are their dwelling place, especially Chandana tree. They are attracted towards the Chandanam smell. These are all present in different kavyas in many areas, in different areas. So here too he uses that idea. Now these snakes which are there, generally snakes are also called pavanashana. Their food is they keep drinking air. So their food is also air. In Amaram, you will find the line Uragaha, Pannagaha, Bhogi, Jimhagaha, Pavanashanaha, one who eats air. So its food is, snake's food is air. Okay. Now, where does all this fit in the shloka? There is a huge wind that comes from this Malaya mountain. But when we think of Malaya Marutam, we only think of a very soft, light breeze. Right? But he says, the Kavi says here, that the wind that comes from that Malaya mountain is actually a lot. Prabhutaha api. Even though it is abundant, there is an excessive wind that comes, but then it slowly, when it comes out of that sandalwood forest, it has become very small and alpaha. How is that? Pade pade, at every step, chandana kananasthaihi phanadaraihi, chandana kanane vidyamanaihi, those serpents, phanadharaihi, the serpents which are present in the sandalwood forest, pade pade, nipiyamanaha, it is being taken in. So the serpents at every step, they keep swallowing a little bit of that air from the wind that is flowing. So pade pade chandana kananasthaihi phanadaraihi nipiyamanaha sanna bahihi prasarpanna, when it comes out of the forest, kananat bahihi prasaranna eshaha mandaha abhut, it became very alpam here, became very less when it came out of the forest. And where this happens, where the wind is very little, malayanilaha mandaha abhut kila evam. So evam malayanilaha prabhutaha jataha api, jataha ityukte utpannaha, utpanna avasthayam eshaha malayanilaha prabhutaha asit, prachuraha asit. He was, a lot of wind was there actually when it started off, but then slowly as it moved through the forest, there were a lot of these serpents which wanted aharam, and they started drinking in this air, and it slowly became less when it came out of the forest, and that proved to be very beautiful for the youth to enjoy in this country. And hence malayanilaha bahihi prasarpanna mandaha abhut kila. Isn't it? This is the reason, Kalu. So pade pade chandana kananasthaihi phanadaraihi yatra nipiyamanaha prasarpanna. That prasarpanna also is a very beautiful word that he uses. Sarpati iti sarpaha. One who moves slowly. It's not that he is walking here. Right? Prasaran, he slowly spreads himself on the ground and goes. So in order to use for the word sarpa here, he says the wind also moves like the sarpam and goes out very slowly. Prasarpan. Pade pade chandana kananasthaihi phanadharaihi yatra nipiyamanaha jatah prabhutopi bahih prasarpan mandah kilaivam malayanilobhu. The next one is again about Malayanila. Mandanilam manmatha moolakandam yatropayoktum munayas trasantah vayagha charma vyajanopajataihi vateirvaratam kechana vartayante. A very beautiful image. See, if you have such soft wind, it is ideal for youth. It gives the feeling of romance, right? And very typically, Manmatha has this Malaya Marutam as his chariot. In Saundarya Lahari, in the 6th shloka, he says, Danuf Paushpam Moru, when describing Manmatha, see, imagine what sort of a iconography Manmatha is. See, he has Dhanuhu Paushpam. Paushpam ityukte Ikshudandaha atra. So sugar cane is his bow. And then Dhanuh Paushpam, Maurvi Madhukaramayi, the Maurvi string that he uses for that bow is just a row of bees. So unreliable. Huh? They are not going to stand in a straight line always for him to use that as a string, right? When he wants, they will probably fly away. Or if it sees some flower, it is going to fly away, right? Maurvi madhukaramayi. Panchayeva vishikhaha. He doesn't have thousands of arrows in his quiver. He only has 5 arrows. Ashoka, Navamallika, Chutam, these Padmam. These are just, he has only 5 arrows, and those are also flowers. Okay, Pancha Vishikhaha, Vasantaha, Samantaha. His only helper here, or Senapati here, is Vasantaha. Vasanta Ritustu, Varshe, Masadvayameva Vartate. It is not present in the entire year. So imagine the accessories that Manmatha has in his hand. Vasanta Samantaha, Malaya Marut Ayodhana Rathaha. Malaya Marut is a wind that flows only from one direction, only from that Malaya mountain to wherever. So it will go in only one direction. Manmatha cannot decide to take his Ratham in whatever direction he wants, and it is a wind. Now this Malaya Marutam also, we have seen that it is a Manda Anila. It's not a chariot that can go really fast also. The beauty of that shloka is Malaya Marut Ayodhana Rathaha Tathapi Ekaha Sanne. He's the only person. He doesn't have a big, huge army behind him. And he wins over the entire world. Everybody at some point or the other have fallen prey to that Manmatha. In some age or some way or the other, we must have fallen prey to that. Jagadidam anango vijayate. Angopi nastitasya ekaha sanne idam jagat jayati. How is that possible? It can only be possible by getting a little kripa from Devi Shakti there. Tathapyekas sarvam himagirusute kamapi kripam tavapangat te labdva jagadidam anango vijayate. Now this Malaya Marutam is the stronghold of Manmatha. Mandanilam, this soft breeze, is a Manmatha Mula Kandam. Manmathasya Mula Kandam ityukte Moolam Pradhanam Kandaha Adharaha. Pradhanaha Adharaha Manmathasya Ayam Malaya Marutaha eva. It is only this wind which is the Ratham, Rathatvat, Manmathasya Rathena Vidyamanatvat, Pradhana Prayojyam Tadeva. If Manmatha has to go to fight and win over the entire world, the first thing he has to have is a Ratham. And that Ratham is this Mandanila, this soft breeze which comes from the mountains of Malaya. Manmatha Mula Yatra Yasmin Deshe Manmatha Mulakandam Mandanilam. Now, when this is the only wind that flows in Pandya Desha, imagine. Even the hand fans have that sweet smelling sandalwood in them because the only wind that is there is this Malaya Marutam. Now, there are a lot of ascetics who are trying to pursue tapas. Right? Now, they don't want this constant reminder about Manmatha. Right? Malaya Maruta Sevanena, they are also, they need wind, they need that air to survive. Right? Everybody, we don't understand the necessity of wind. We always talk about food, water, but air is also another very, very important thing which we half the time forget because we take it as given in our life. Now here the Munis are also very afraid of this air, this wind, because it will increase their kama in the mind. They don't want that. So Munayaha Mandanilam upayoktum trasantaha. They are fearing, they are very afraid of using this light, beautiful breeze that comes from this mountain. Kimartham trasantaha? Because it is the foremost support of Manmatha. Manmatha Mulakandam Mandanilam upayoktum, upayojayatum athava aswadayatum. To even experience or take in that air, they are very afraid to do that. Because, so what do? Because they think that kamaha Malaya Marutasya sevanena kamaha kadapi manasi vishayet iti bhayam vidyate tesham manasi. Tari Kim Kurvanti, what do they do to overcome this difficulty? They want to stay in Pandya because they know that this is Swarga. They don't want to go anywhere else also. But they have to overcome this difficulty of Malay Maratham also. So, Vayyagra Charma Vyajanopajataihi Vataihi Vratam Vartayante. Vratam Vartayante, they lead their austerities. Vartayati Vrittim Kurvanti. Tapasaha Vrittim Kurvanti. They do their tapas. Vataihi, with winds that come from Vyajanam, fans which are made of Vyagra Charma, Vayyagra Charma, Vyagrasya idam Vayyagram, Shardula Charma, that is made of tiger skin. So they lead their austerities with winds that come from fans that are made out of tiger skin. Now, the two things I was thinking of why he uses this Vyagra Charma. Prayaha Vyagrasya Smritya, when the moment you think of Vyagra, you will probably think of Veera Rasam or you will think of Bhayam, right? Bhayanaka. These are the rasas that will come in your mind. Shringaram will not come. So Vyagrasya Smritya, Prayaha Kamasya Smritihi na bhavati, Nashta bhavati. So that is one reason. The other idea which is more suitable, because this text is also about Shiva. Vyagra Charma. Shiva is also called as a person who wears tiger skin. Krittivasaha ityapi. He has an elephant skin. In some places, he is also known to have a tiger skin. So this tiger, having a fan with tiger skin, reminds them of Shiva. And who is this Shiva? Two things. One is Kama Dahanaha. He destroyed Kama. And so thinking about Shiva, you will also be able to destroy Kama in your mind. Machitte asti trilochanaha. Kama dahanaha yadi machitte asti, tarhi saha manasi vidyamanam kamam api dagdhum shaknoti iti. So that is the with that expectation in mind, they are using these tiger skin fans. That is one aspect. The other is, he is a Yogishwara. He is the foremost of yogis. Yaha kantardha shariraha api yogina is a person who is having a lady in one half of his body, and yet he is spoken of as the greatest tapasvi. If you think of yogi, the first person you will say is Shiva. Right? So Yogeshwaraha saha Kameshwaraha, Kamadahanaha api saha iti karanat Vyagra Charmana tasya smritihi bhavati manasi. So they will go into their tapas. This Vyagra Charma, this tiger skin, will make them go into tapas even deeper. Tapasi dridhataya, they will involve themselves in tapas further. So these are the two things probably that you can take it as Dhvani here to remind us that of Shiva. Mandanilam Manmatha Mulakandam Yatra Upayoktum. Just to recap once more, Yatra, where, in which country? Kechana Munayaha, some ascetics, Trasantaha, they are being afraid to use Upayoktum, athava to enjoy the breeze. Mandanilam, the light breeze. Manmatha Mulakandam, which is the greatest supporter of Manmatha. Those people, Vratam Vartayante, they lead their austerities with the winds that come from tiger skin. Come from fans that are made of tiger skin. Okay. So Mandanilam Manmatha Mulakandam Yatropayoktum Munayastrasantaha Vayyagra Charma Vyajanopajataihi Vataihi Vratam Kechana Vartayante. I'll stop with this. Any questions? You can raise your hand. Namaste. Arun Kumar Mahodaya.
Hari Om, Namaste.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
From the word ayata yama, two words, right? Or is it a samasta padam?
It's a samasta padam.
Ayata is a verb, no, madam. Yati,
yataha, yan. Yeah, verb da. Adavadhu yataha yamaha. Na yataha yamaha. ayatayamaha.
இல்ல யாத்திங்கிறது வெர்பு, யாமங்கிறது நவுன் இல்லையா?
Yes.
அது வெர்பு நவுன் ரெண்டுத்தையுமே சமஸ்கிருதம் பண்ண முடியுமா?
இல்ல, யாத்தஹ is treated as a subanta because அங்க தப்ரத்யம் வந்துருது இல்லையா? கிருத கிருத பிரயோஜனம் அப்படிங்கிறச்சு. சோ கிருத கிருத்தியஹ, கிருதஹ கிருத்திய, கிருதம் கிருத்தியம் ஏன சஹ, அந்த மாதிரி யூசேஜஸ் இருக்கு. சோ கிருத பிரத்யம், when கிருத பிரத்யா comes in, you are actually treating it as a subanta. Yes.
Okay, அதுக்காக கேக்குறாங்க. Okay madam.
No problem.
அப்புறம் அஜனி, அஜனிங்கிறது என்ன ஃபார்ம்?
அஜனி இஸ் அது என்ன சட்டன வரலையே, லுங் லுங்
இல்லையா?
ஜனதாத்து லுங் லகார.
லுங் லகார.
ஆமா, ஜன்யதே, ஜன்யதே, அதுல யூ கோ இன்டு லுங் லகார அண்ட் ஏகவச்சனம்.
Okay, thank you.
Shankari Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Namaste Mahodaya. Can you come closer to the mic? I can't.
Namaste Mahodaya. इदानीं बहु सम्यक् अस्ति श्रोतुम्, अहम् आस्वादयन्ती शृणोमि भवत्याः पाठनं बहु सम्यक् अस्ति. दीक्षितानाम् एवं श्लोकान् पठितुं सन्तोषम् अनुभवामः. षष्ठश्लोकः पुनः 12तमः श्लोकः एकत्र पाण्ड्यदेशे तपसः आवश्यकता नास्ति यतः तत्रैव तेषां फलमपि अस्ति इति रीत्या अन्यत्र तपश्चरन्तः चेत् युक्तम् इति, ततः अधिकम् अत्रैव ते प्राप्नुवन्ति पाण्ड्यदेशे इत्युक्ते अत्र तपसः आवश्यकता नास्ति इति प्रायः मम अवगमनं साधुवति न जाने. षष्ठश्लोकस्य अर्थः मया एवम् अवगतम्.
तपसः अर्थे तपस्तु कर्तव्यमेव. Okay, if you look at Kumarasambhavam, he says kenapi kamena tapaschachara. Se avapta kamasya shivasya kimartham tatra tapaha karoti saha. Sarvada tapasi eva nirataha vartate. He doesn't need any phalam there for him. But he keeps doing tapas. It is for the sake of tapas that he keeps doing. That's all.
तदेव तद् अनन्तरं 12 अत्र तु व्याघ्रचर्म उपयुज्य ते व्रतं पालयन्ति इति द्वयोः एवं चिन्तनम् आगतं तावदेव.
Okay.
धन्यवादः.
Okay. Thank you. Raman sir.
Yeah, I have come across many scientific things that are connected to what has been there in our Puranas and Itihasas. And this Kumbhasambhava is something similar to what the science knows as test tube babies. You know?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And then as far as the tiger skin goes, I was also reminded of Parvati's Vahanam as
Simham.
Simha Vahanam. We also see Nakali using Kali tiger as a Vahanam too.
See, Padattula podrache, who paints, that is different. Okay. So, but எல்லா இடத்துலயும் துர்கைக்கு வந்து சிம்ஹம் தான் I have seen. I have not seen tiger as a vahanam for her.
Okay.
Check it out.
But between the two, between the tiger and simham, it looks like tiger seems to have the kind of tenacity that is needed to outmaneuver anything, you know.
In Gujarat, actually, there are some people who say that they portray her with tiger and all that. Yes. Yeah. Oh, nice.
And then the last thing, because I heard about tapas, somehow I think that even Shiva does tapas definitely not for himself, but for his children.
Kshemaya.
Okay. Children
Loka Kshemaya.
All the jivas.
Lokasya yoga kshemam.
And without tapas, all your ashtama siddhis will go to waste.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. We'll meet next week. Thank you. Namaste.